Alright, I'm going to change an injector on a 2011 Evinrude Etec 225. I just replaced number 2 a few minutes ago. About 3 years ago, I did a video. I think I was replacing number 3 maybe. And I made a mistake of using a GoPro. And some people were complaining that they couldn't hear me, so I'm going to do this video again off of my camera that I normally use to video things, and hopefully this will be better. When I get done with number 6, I'm replacing number 6. Number 6 is on the port side bottom. I've replaced, after I do that, I will have replaced all but number 1. And the reason these have gone out over the years is about 5 years ago, the vapor separator tank here had failed inside. There's water that goes in there, and then your gasoline goes in there and the water cools the gasoline off. Well, it failed, and I had water and gas mixing, meaning I had water going to the injectors, and since I run in salt water, it was salt water. But considering these last two have lasted, I think that was like 5 years ago, I can't really complain. But anyway, now number 6 and number 5 are under your lower cowling, so you have to take 6 bolts out on this motor. Anyway, there's 3 in the back, and there's 1 down there. Can't get it. There's 1 up in there, and there's 1 in the front. Then you can separate the 2 halves, which I'm going to do, and then I'll get busy changing the injector. Already taking the bolts out. Now we can get to the injector. It's on the bottom. Let me show you what we're going to be doing. There's an injector hold down screw right inside of there, if you can see it. It's really tight working on these things, but it holds the 2 fuel lines going to the injector. Your feed line and then your return line. And I'll give you a better idea what that looks like by looking at number 2. That's your return line, and inside of here, the finger, is the feed line. That one can be a little tricky, but there's a hold down clamp. This is part of it. Then there's a little bolt in the center that holds these fuel lines into the injector. Alright, just want to make sure the camera's going to see what I'll be doing. Let me go ahead and take this off so you got a better view. I don't want anybody complaining this time. 17,000 people watched that video, but there's like 3 people bitching because they couldn't hear my voice. But I guess I can understand, because when you're getting ready to do something you haven't done before, you aren't sure about, you like to go on YouTube and see somebody's done it, and you see a video where somebody, you can't even hear them. It would suck, but anyway. This screw here, now, I don't have a problem right now because I got the cowling open, but I would highly recommend that you be real careful taking this one out. This is an 8mm socket I'm using, but I'm not too concerned with this one, because also, if you're worried about fuel leaking, this motor hadn't run in a week, but fuel will leak out when you take this hold down clamp off. So if that's a concern, you need to prepare for that. Okay. This screw, let's see, I just dropped it. Luckily, it dropped on the ground. But when if you're doing one of these injectors up above there, and your cowling's on there, then you'll have to take the cowling off to find where you're screwing it. So that's just a heads up. Okay. Make sure you still see good. Yeah, right in the middle. Okay, once you get that screw out, then this clamp is loose. I take a screwdriver and just kind of wedge in here and try to get the line to come out. You got to be careful because it's a plastic line going in there, so you don't want to put too much pressure on it. You want to try to do one at a time, that way you're not trying to do both of them. It's coming. You may not be able to see it, but it's coming. You just don't want to get in no hurry, because if you crack that, this fitting right here, yeah, you crack that, you're done. Because I don't know, you can buy that fitting alone. You might have to buy the whole line out. I'm not sure. Oh, see, got that one open. See the gasoline leaking out. Oop. Man, that's hard to believe, because like I said, this motor hadn't been running over a week. When I did number 2 up above, it just leaked out. It didn't spray like that. I don't know if I got any on the lens or not. Okay, that's loose. Next thing we need is the 14 millimeter. Take these 2 bolts out that holds the injector in, and after we do that, the connector is tight in here. It's actually connected to this bracket. Then we'll disconnect that bracket, then the injector comes out. $14mm is a little tight. Plus this bolt had a little bit of corrosion on it, being run in the salt water. Alright, it's ready to come out. So we might have to pull these lines out a little bit and kind of watch for this. This goes between the injector and the head. Don't lose that. You gotta have that. And we'll clean that up. Here goes my cowling. This is what sucks. You need to put videos together for people. It takes more time to do it. And then when they're not happy with it, and complain, kind of sucks. Alright, and my cowling's off. There's the injector. And that's probably why it wasn't dead, but it was weak. And looks like a little bit of salt water got up in there, but that's how you get it out. want to clean the, I forget what they call this thing. It's an insulator, I think is what they call it. Clean it up good. And be careful that nothing goes inside the hole where your injector tip goes in. I haven't had this happen before, but I've got some corrosion I'm going to have to scrape off. And I'll imagine it's because maybe this is the bottom of the motor. Maybe water got splashed up in there. I don't know. Move the camera over here. I probably won't be able, I'm going to probably move it back, but let me see. Yep, that's where it came out of. This is the connector for the injector. And there were two lines, return line. And a feed line, I think. Anyway, I forget which one's which. You got little O-rings on here. It's a good idea to make sure they're damp when you go to put your new injector on there. All right. New injector, you got to remember to take these two plugs out and this. While I'm thinking about it, the last injector I replaced, well, before today, I replaced number 2. The torque on the mounting bolts on these were 25 foot-pounds. They've since, when I bought these new injectors, they've changed there's some kind of coating on the bolts, plus I've put a thin layer of the Evinrude triple guard grease on them. But they recommend now torquing them down to 33 psi foot-pounds. Oh. You've got to take that bracket off your old injector. And you have to note how it goes. This one went like that. So that's got to come off. I don't know if you can see or not, but don't. Oh, you're not going to be able to see this because I can't. Just remember, you got to take your hold down plate off your old injector and put it on your new one. There's a new injector. And don't be surprised that the first time you do this, you don't put it on right, but it's got to go on that way, because see how it's shaped different where the screw goes. If you don't get it on there right, it ain't going back on there. Don't ask me how I know. I just heard that from a friend. Don't forget your insulator. Got the maneuver your lines a little bit in order to get everything back in there. It's a tight area and it can be a pain in the butt. Put it back in. I swear I did the other one, no problem today, but of course when you turn the camera on, everything goes wrong. But that's the way things go. Alright. You want this tag sticking out because it's got your serial number and your CS number. I can't remember what that stands for. But anyway, once you get it in there, you got to put your lines back in. Push a little bit to get them to go in there. And you gotta maneuver this hold down bracket in there, so and make sure that you can't hardly see your line in the back. You want to make sure it gets around there, because if not, you're gonna, or it gets around the groove in there, because if you don't, you're gonna have a leak. And it's hard to see back in there. So that's why I'm telling you. You'll know it as soon as you crank it up. Okay, it's in there. I'm gonna take the hold down screw. Not worried about dropping the screw right now, because like I said, I got the cowling opened up and I'll easily find the screw, but it's a good idea. Get some paper, put it in your socket. To help hold your screw so you don't drop it as you're trying to maneuver it back there where it's supposed to go. And I dropped it. I'm not going to worry about the tapes a second, or the paper. You want to do it by hand instead of using your ratchet, so you can feel if it's getting threaded in there or not. Like this is not. bracket's not quite down far enough. Son of a bitch. I guess I should have followed my own advice. Now I'm having trouble finding the screw. Even though I'm on a concrete driveway. Alright. So we'll get the magnet and see if we can find it. So now we'll get comments on how this video sucks because the guy dropped a damn screw and he told us how to do it to where you don't drop a screw and he dropped it anyway. You know, I'm not even post this video. This is unbelievable. Look inside my cowling, there's nothing there. I mean, it's a good thing this happened. That way you can see what I was talking about. If you don't put something on there to hold your screw in, it could fall out. See if it landed on the motor somewhere, but I don't see it. Oh well, I'm not going to keep running video for that. I'll find it here in a minute. You just tighten that down and you torque these two bolts down to 33 if you got the gray bolts. If you got black bolts, I believe they were 25. That's what my last ones were. And then hook this connector back up. And that'll be pretty much it. And then you got to go in the computer. You have to install the coefficient file for the injector and tell it what cylinder it's in now. And then you're done. Good luck.